right, well, another edition of In the Paint here. I'm your host, Earnest EJ Christian, coming to you alongside, of course, the Degenerate himself again today, Zack, as well as Krizmanic here. The playoffs roll on. We are now, tonight, we're actually recording this right now. The Heat Sixers Game 5 literally just ended about 15 minutes ago. Suns and Mavericks just tipped off, I think, maybe about 5 minutes ago. So that's where we're at right now. I know Zach's tired. He just did a podcast earlier today. We did the Football is Awesome podcast today. Yeah, that was entertaining. You and Kyle get into it like multiple times, and then you and Mike get into it. Zach, what is with you getting fights, everybody?
Dude, look. Here's the thing. Trevor Lawrence was straight up horrendous hot garbage last year. Now, you can project that he will be great because everyone tells you from Mel Kiper to Todd McShay that he's the greatest thing since John Elway and Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning. But you know what? He never fucking showed up last year. You can tell me bad coaching all you want. Never showed up.
I mean, that was a dumpster fire of a situation for him to walk into.
I don't care. We have seen other coaches, other places be absolute dumpster fires, and quarterbacks still in their rookie season did not look like hot garbage.
Zack, his kicker is suing the team right now because what the coach did to him. That's
right.
That was a super.
That's pretty fucking bad.
Super dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Use that whole year.
Well, here's the thing.
There are teams that went through 5 kickers in one season, right? Like, there are a lot of ways to say my kicker is hot garbage. All Urban Meyer did was say, "Look, man, get off my fucking lawn." That's all he said.
Zack, he purposely played an inferiorly talented player like James Robinson because he coached Carlos Hyde in Ohio State, who was putting up like 2 yards per carry, and his quarterback was pining for James Robinson to be on the field because he was a more talented player.
For 6 years straight, he has been the number 1 quarterback at for 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, freshman year, sophomore year, junior year. He was the best quarterback in the country, supposedly. And in 1 year with Urban Meyer for 6 or 7 games, that was it. You're telling me he couldn't get past that. He couldn't get past 7 games of Urban Meyer as a professional NFL head coach. The guy who has owned college football. He couldn't get past 7 games of Urban Meyer in the NFL and complete 60% of his passes.
I watched him
tear up 1 for 1 even on the touchdown to interception ratio. I mean, could I get a balance? Can I get a balance? Not be 2-1 or 3-1. Could I get a 1-1 for even balance of touchdown to interception?
And now people are running now. We're at 4 minutes to the podcast. That's dedicated to basketball. Talk about Trevor fucking Lawrence, Sunshine himself. Kris, here's my advice to you. Go listen to that podcast today we did. We basically ranked all 16 AFC quarterbacks. So,
somebody had Trevor Lawrence as like the 8th best quarterback in freaking
not that high.
AFC.
No. I had him 12, but somebody else had him higher than me, I think, actually.
Everybody had him. Okay, I had him the lowest. Then Ernest, then Mike, and then Jacksonville.
Okay. Jackson, Kyle. I mean, Kyle.
I mean, oh my God.
All right. We'll get to that later. Anyway, NBA playoffs in full swing. Let's react first to the game we just watched right now a little while ago. Heat win game 5 by 35. I mean, I'm going to take the Heat goggles off because I was too invested in the game to the point where even when they're up 20, I'm still worried. I'm that fan. Well, if you watch another random game and your team's up 15, you think, oh, well, that game can be over, or 20 points, it can be over. You're invested in a team that's up that kind of points with the pressure right now after losing the last 2 games in Philadelphia. You're thinking this game's not over yet. But anyway,
own a lead for you to be scared at that point.
yeah, I understand. I totally understand.
Hey, how many of your starters were in the fourth quarter?
None. And I tweeted out tonight. Hey, Doc Rivers, this is how you pull your starters at the end of in the middle of the fourth quarter. Don't wait till 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter near 30 points and then pull your best player and hope he's getting hurt.
I just love that he justified it by saying most top teams lead their guys into a 3-minute mark. Yeah. You got hurt.
Literally the dumbest statement you can make, Doc.
I hate people who say shit like that.
So where are we now? What is the series now? 3-2 Heat. We go to Philadelphia for Thursday. Sorry, I'm a little dark. If you're on YouTube, watch it. It's a little dark here.
You look really good in that lighting, Ernest.
I know I do.
I mean, really good.
I'm putting my kid to sleep again. So 3-2 now. What do you think now? Game 6 in Philadelphia. Joel Embiid re-injured his eye, number 1, tonight. He also tweaked his back. Harden didn't do nothing in this game after a resurgence in game 4. Where do you see the series now?
I see panic mode for the Heat. I mean, this should have been closeout game, and they still left the window open because they couldn't defeat an injured Embiid with nothing else.
Okay.
I mean, the Heat still have to be scared to death until the end of their clinching game against the 76ers because they can't win otherwise.
I'm of the ilk. Good things. Until you prove it, I'm not going to pick you to do it. Until you can win a game on the road against the Sixers.
Yep.
That's how I
feel. That's how I feel.
Go 7, and they could go ahead and blow them out in Game 7 like they've done in pretty much every game, in Miami. But until you beat someone, you beat Philly on the road, I'm not going to pick you to do it. Why would I pick you to do it?
No, I'm with you. In fact, I'll go ahead and say it. I'm picking Philly win Game 6. I mean, barring an announcement that Embiid's not playing Game 6, when I think he will play Game 6, but I'm picking Philly win Game 6.
He's already injured, and he re-injures his eye, and you really think they're going to let him play again?
Of course, they will.
Not his fault. Because number 1, he wants to play. Number 1, he wants to fucking play.
But this gives him the ultimate excuse. A second injury to the same area.
Nah.
Why is that an excuse, though? He gets hurt, he gets hurt.
Because I'm paying the guy $45 to $50 million over the next 3 years going forward. I'm an organization that doesn't take those risks with my money.
I just agree with that. That's what you're saying.
Like he makes the call.
You play for these. These are the moments you play for. You pay that guy for these moments here, whatever we're in now. So,
or if you're Jimmy Butler, you only play when it's at home.
By the way, Jimmy Butler, I know we discussed this a couple weeks ago on the pod about, top 10 players, and we all agree Butler's top 10. This series has reaffirmed that.
You were the first guy willing to kick him out of top 10.
I wasn't sure. He's in that 8 to 15 bubble. I don't know.
Oh, my gosh. It's been a week and a half, and now you're like, well, he could be top 10 again.
No, he's top 10. No, he's been top 10 the last 2 weeks now, man. Stop. I'm just saying. So let me ask you a question real quickly. Did he close it down on Thursday?
No.
No, Kris? No?
No.
I say no as well, too. Zack?
Yes, because Embiid will not be in the game.
Okay. Tonight, of course, right now we're recording in the middle of the Suns and the Mavericks, 2-2 apiece. We were saying last week on the podcast, what
Kris said sweet.
What kind of sidekick does Luka need? Because obviously they didn't work with Porzingis. And we also said that Luka's turned into more of a James Harden type ball dominant guy, and maybe he's a guy that maybe you don't win titles with because he's turned into a Harden type. But he's done the thing in Game 3 and 4 I thought he wouldn't do. He got guys involved. He got players involved, and they actually rewarded him. So now we have a 2-2 series now. Obviously, when this podcast comes out, this game probably be over. But as of this, for the sake of this conversation, where do you see the series going now with 3 to go? Zack.
If they lose tonight, Chris Paul chokes in Game 6. Dead serious. I know it's going to really hurt Kris and even you, Ernest, because y'all are Chris Paul lovers. Everybody I know loves Chris Paul, and yet the man accomplished one thing for one season with injuries leading through every way to the finals. Okay, look, if they choke against a ball-dominant guard, that unless they let Jalen Brunson actually control the game for 15 to 20 minutes, they have no chance of winning. That is going to be an emphatic slap on Chris Paul.
So you're taking Suns in 6?
No, I'm taking the Mavericks because I think Luka had through 4 games of game film has realized, hey, maybe if I let my teammates join in the fun, we can win.
Kris?
I mean, it takes big efforts from everyone. Jalen Brunson has shown that he can play aside Luka, which is important. You know, it comes down to guys like Dorian Finney-Smiths of the world, like these 3 guys, like they show up at home and the game doesn't translate on the road. Same thing within the last series. You know, Tobias Harris shows up at home, on the road, different story.
Yep.
Well, you know, he showed up for those 2 games against the Heat without Joel, but
He did.
But guys like Tyrese Maxey haven't shown up on the road. Like, these are the games where, like, Maxey Kleber and Dorian Finney-Smith and these guys really have to step it up. Reggie Bullocks of the world. If they're hitting threes, those teams can beat anybody because when you have that type of floor spacing, it makes the game so much easier for Jalen Brunson to use their strength and the Lukas to take it to the paint because they're spreading the floor out. But when they're not hitting and you're collapsing down low, it's a whole different ball game. So it's all about the supporting cast. The superstars will always get theirs. Even if they're having an off night, they'll figure out a way to get theirs. But it's the supporting cast that have to show up time in and time again. And those teams always win. Or they have enough guys that, you know, you need 3 of your 6 supporting cast guys to hit. So as long as you can get that, then you're good.
So I originally had Suns in 6. I'm going to go Suns in 7.
So here's my question.
Go ahead.
Right now, Dallas could be up 3 games to 2, if not for an absolutely perfect game by Chris Paul, right? Where he went 12 of 12. Like it took him having the greatest of games, and then Ernest, the very next day, you show up and try and talk to me about, does this put him in top 10? Does this make him a top 10 player?
Like currently, yeah.
A top 5 all-time point guard. He had the greatest game of
I mean, you know I'm coming with the takes. You know that. I always come with the takes.
I know. But think of that. It took all of that to not be down 3 games to 1.
Oh,
yeah, you
early week 5 against Dallas.
Zach, you do realize he's 37 years old, right? He should be this good at this age right now.
No, he shouldn't. But when you're taking the hot take of the 7th and 8th guy off the bench for Dallas has to be great to win, and yet to not be down 1-3 right now, it took your starting point guard having a perfect game. Like, let's put it in another context of not being in the Suns' favor.
You talking about round 1, right? Well, against New Orleans, right?
No, he just pulled this off.
Okay.
Chris Paul.
So I got
what was that, game 2?
Yeah, I got Suns in 7. Zach, was this Mavs in 6?
I have Mavs in 6.
And Kris?
Suns in 6.
Oh wow, okay. All over the place here. All right, let's go to the next series here. I guess we touch on Kris's series now. 3-1, Golden State or Memphis. John Moran misses game 4. God, I was saying earlier in my daily podcast that so Memphis leads pretty much 46.5 minutes of that game until the last minute and a half. I'm thinking Memphis can sustain for another minute. Just another minute. Hold on. And fucking Steph Curry goes off in the end. Dude, what was going on with fucking Dylan Brooks? What's going on with Jaren Jackson taking like really bad shots in opportune times? God, Memphis, they had that game. They had that game last night.
That's what experience versus inexperience in crunch time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the definition right there. But Memphis has been making these mistakes all playoff long against Minnesota. They've been constantly doing this where, they're constantly making these boneheaded mistakes that only young teams make. And, these are the growing pains, and they learn from these things. And every year they get hungrier and hungrier. And last year they got bounced in the first round. This year they get bounced in the second round. Next year, finals. Just a natural progression.
Right.
So, Ernest, how big was your exhale of thank God Golden State won and Zack wasn't right about that game? Because I called that whole game for 46 and a half minutes. I was right about that game.
Because of the narrative, because of the Ja Morant narrative?
Yes. You guys laughed, and I swore that was going to happen.
So let me ask you this. So are you suggesting now that the Grizzlies should trade Ja Morant? The fact you pause right there is a problem.
No, it's because depending on who the trade acquisition is, yeah. What if
Holy
Memphis
shit.
What if Memphis said, you know what? Hey, Boston, Jaylen Brown or Tatum for him. Because Memphis can go 20-2 without him.
Man, I go Tatum.
Golden State.
I mean, Tatum.
Golden State.
So, dude, you saying that plays into what we said last week about LaMelo Ball and Ja Morant in 5 years.
No. That has nothing to do with it because LaMelo Ball still is not even near the same playground as Ja Morant. All right? There's, LaMelo Ball is playing in JV if we're looking at all these young stars.
Right.
And I keep trying to tell you that. And you guys love LaMelo Ball.
Well, I don't love LaMelo.
I don't love him. He's a steady player. He's a steady player.
He has the game that you
good.
can see
He's good. He's not special.
To today's NBA. He's built for that. And you can just see the trajectory where he slowly becomes – he might not ever become more efficient, and he's just some, volume playmaker that never wins, and he turns into Russell Westbrook, essentially.
Yeah, and that's what he is. That's what he is.
That could happen, but I see him more of a team-oriented player, and that his game will translate differently, but it could happen.
What part of his 18 years of upbringing tells you he's a team player?
I mean, you could see his older brother, transformed his game, took his three-point percentage 6 points higher with a fucking jacked-up shooting form. So it could happen. That said,
because right now the reports are that Ja Morant is doubtful to return for the series with the bone bruise. Series over?
Absolutely.
In 5?
Yes.
Yeah. It's like a gentleman's sweep at this point.
Yeah, I would have said 6 if Ja came back for Game 5. But I'm going to go with a gentleman's sweep one. I think Golden State just sees the writing on the wall. Then they see blood, and they're going to go ahead and just take that off for the series. All right. Finally, the series has now become the best series of the second round now all of a sudden. That is Boston and Milwaukee. Tied series. By the way, as I said in the podcast today, put some respect on Al Horford's name. Let's go. I'm going to put a Bucks me wrong, but Al Horford, I told Mikey B, who's a big Celtics fan, because when they announced Williams was out for the game, Robert Williams was out for Game 4, and I said, watch Al Horford step his ass up. And he did more than I thought he did. 2-2 series now, best of 3. I initially had Bucks in 7 to start the series. I'm sticking with it, man, but man, Boston's scary.
Kris, you first? Or me?
I mean, it took a Herculean effort. I mean, Al Horford said after he got posterized early in that game that's what set him off. I mean, that'll happen to you when you get disrespected that bad to start the game off. But I will always, in close series like this, give me the best player on the court. I'll always err on the side of Milwaukee. Just pure fact that they're doing it shorthanded, and whatever happens, happens. If Chris Middleton does come back, they don't need much from him to tilt the scale in that direction. But,
right.
I mean, Boston, they have an identity, which is defense, but I don't know what it is. I mean, you can kind of see Tatum trying to take that Batman step, but there's just something missing. There's one thing missing there, and I don't know what it is.
It's the dog.
Just
It's
not
the dog.
good enough.
It's on Tatum, right? Tatum?
That's why he's top 10.
No, it's
top
not.
5.
It's the
not.
dog. It's what Butler has, I think. The dog in him.
They're just missing something, and I can't
No, there's only so many that special players. And that's what everyone's got to start.
But you don't need that when you have two wings that are like top 15. I think Jaylen Brown's about top 15.
I agree with you.
So
but
what's
there's a
there?
different level between 10 and 5 and 1.
You just don't see the offensive gelling. Like those two you don't see that like Dwayne Wade, LeBron, full court alley-oop, like don't need to look at each other type of brainwave communication that two excellent wing players should have together. You're missing something. When you see these explosive guys in the All-Star game, you're like, damn, these guys don't even play with each other, and they're just picking it up like it's nothing. Granted, there's no defense playing the All-Star game, but you just see like they're missing something. Like those two guys are just not on the same page, and you can clearly see it. No matter how big a games they have, there's something missing. There's a glue guy that they're missing to bring everything together. And Marcus Smart's kind of like that guy some games, but they're just missing the one glue guy that's going to bring that team together and unlock everybody. But I don't know. That's where they thought Kemba was going to be, but I just don't know who they can get to do that. They're just missing this like this team chemistry that's just missing there.
I really thought Kris knew the answer to this one, but clearly he doesn't. So here's the thing. It doesn't matter how much better Jaylen Brown is than anybody playing right now for Milwaukee. What it is Giannis is so great that it takes Al Horford, another player at the twilight of his career, having the greatest game of his postseason career, just to barely scrape by.
I will see one thing that's kind of concerned me about the last couple of games with Milwaukee at home is that both games they had a fairly sizable lead in the fourth quarter and they blow it. Game 3, they almost blew the game completely. They won the game obviously, but they blew the lead. Game 4 also they had a pretty decent lead in the fourth quarter, and then Boston came back and won the game.
Yeah,
a little concerned about that. A little concerned.
I'm not, because Milwaukee still has Giannis. So no matter how great Tatum is, and no matter how great Jaylen Brown is versus any number 2 player for Milwaukee, Milwaukee still has the best player on the planet.
But that said, I got Bucks and 7 still. I'm sticking Bucks and 7. Zack, what you got?
Bucks and 7.
Chris?
I'm going to go Bucks and 6, man.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I thought you were a Boston guy.
Oh, I've never been a Boston guy. But you see a lot of these series always go 2-2, and then cream of the crop always rises. And you're just going to see it where, unlike the Miami series, Milwaukee has one in Boston, so I can say Milwaukee can beat Boston.
Right.
I won't say that with Miami because they still haven't done it yet.
Right.
Gimped ass Joel Embiid, so.
All right. Let's get to a couple of news notes here from this week. Nikola Jokic supposedly is MVP officially. I haven't seen the results yet in terms of like the points and how close it was, but I imagine it was probably the closest race in the history of the association. Lots of banter on social media when this came out yesterday. Most notably, and I spoke about this earlier in the pod, about how people are saying, "Oh, Embiid was robbed." Listen, you can't be robbed of MVP if it's the closest race in history of the association. That's not a robbery. You can say I disagree with the fucking ruling, but either guy was the MVP is fine. So I would have gone Embiid, but it was a game of inches. Zack, your thoughts?
Well, one, the only time I've ever seen any award robbed was when Iguodala robbed Steph Curry. So
Finals MVP, right?
So other than that, I don't even know what a robbery is.
I agree. I agree with you.
But I'm sorry. If you really didn't think Jokic wasn't the MVP, I don't know what you watched this season. Embiid definitely deserved number 2. Absolutely number 2. But he was not the MVP in my eyes, and I just don't even understand how he could be considered number 1.
Embiid had it going because he had the Ben Simmons drama driving up his worth to go along with, at the time, Philly being closer to the number 1 seed, and that was help fueling that push to the top. And then, the Ben Simmons drama ended. He got Harden more help. Even though he ended up winning the scoring title, the fact that Philly kind of dropped in the standings and barely had home court in the first round. Then you have Jokic literally leading his team in every category: points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals. How are you going to turn that? The guy won MVP last year and then put together the first 2,000, what was it, 500, 800 assists in a season ever.
500, 1,000 to 2,000.
Yeah. First time ever it's happened.
Exactly.
So how are you going to – and then he kept them at the, in the playoff hunt, out of the play-in the entire season without any of his supporting cast.
You want to know what the biggest knock against Embiid was?
What was that?
He played in the same conference as the Orlando Magic.
Oh my God. You're the worst. You're the worst. Mike Brown, expected to become the next Sacramento Kings head coach. He actually coached the Warriors last night, as Mr. Steve Kerr contracted COVID-19. So Mike Brown was the coach. Coach, thoughts on Mike Brown returning to the get another head job? Former Cavs coach, former Lakers coach. What do you think?
I'm happy for the guy. I think he got a raw deal in LA. Whether or not he could really win with the team and take them to a finals and win, I don't know. But the way in which his exit was, I thought he had a raw deal. And so I'm happy he's coaching somewhere. Do I think he makes a bit of difference when it comes down to coaching? No. I think it comes down to the players on the court in the NBA. And I think Sacramento has one gym in Sabonis. You guys like Fox? I think he's a waste of space. So if Sacramento can draft someone who can be a number 2 guy this year, after next season, they have a ton of cap space. And then we can see what he could really do with the team.
Kris?
I mean, I think he got a raw deal in every place he ever coached, and his stats prove that. I think, him and Kerr came from the same Popovich tree, and you hope that he has learned the past few years that he's been in Golden State, which I assume he has, and he's going to take all that knowledge he's acquired, already being a good coach, and take his coaching game to the next level, maybe be able to handle the egos necessary to survive in the NBA, because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, managing the egos on your team. And I think he has foundational pieces there. He has, 2 guys who are beasts at the pick and roll with De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, and they should be a great combo together if he can put together and develop the talent around them necessary for being a small market team. Never sky's the limit for them. It'll be interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. It'll be interesting. I mean, it's not going to shake up the league anyway, but who knows what happens in the next couple of years with that team.
They'll have over $100 million in cap space.
I'll put it
2 seasons.
Right?
So they can sign any max contracts.
Seeing the depth in the West drop because the talent shift to the East.
Yeah.
You can now see a team like them easily getting into the playoffs because you have teams.
Well, it's a play-in.
The 9 and 10 seed were double-digit games under 500, so it don't take much these days in the West to get in there. And the 7 and 8 seed were both 500 or a game over. So they can easily get there with the right coaching and direction. The teams
and they're more than willing to draft, Bronny, so that they can bring in LeBron James.
Very funny.
They don't sleep on Davion Mitchell playing the 1 with De'Aaron Fox taking that role as a 2 and Domantas Sabonis playing 5 and that team putting together, a decent record next year.
I don't like De'Aaron Fox anything other than the 6th guy. No,
All right.
I'm sorry. He can't run a team properly. But with his energy and speed, I want him running the second team offense. That's how it is. He's not a shooting guard. So why would you put him as a 2 guard?
Because you have to
shoot. He can't shoot.
You have to get guys in the court together.
All right. Last thing, let you go. This is the main thing I want to talk about. So last week on First Take, Kendrick Perkins had a very interesting take. Now, he's known for having some really pretty shocking take. He's a take guy. What was that?
He's the worst. He also said New Orleans was going to beat Phoenix in the first round.
Yeah, he has some really strange takes. But he had one take that kind of caught my eye. And, it sounds like, whoa, okay. And his take was that the Warriors should trade Klay Thompson this summer. And if you look at the situation they have right now, with especially with the contracts and upcoming deals that are expiring in the next year or two, or whatever, I don't think it's necessarily a bad take, especially when you consider the situation now with Jordan Poole, who's clearly one of their core guys now. I'm sure they want to keep him long term, but you have lots of guys take a lot of money. You got obviously Steph Curry has another 4 years of his deal. That deal escalates to $60 million at the end of his contract. You still got Klay Thompson has 2 more years of his deal. Draymond Green's I think has another year left of his deal. Andrew Wiggins, another one, has another year in his deal. So you can't pay everybody. It's a salary cap league, and you got to pay Jordan Poole at some point. Now they have 1 more year in his core before they have to start making some decisions here. Because Jordan Poole, I believe next year is due $3.5 million as a team option. Obviously, that team option will be picked up. Obviously, but I'm sure Golden State would like to extend him sooner rather than later, lock him up. So my question is this though: how concerned should you be about the Warriors in this salary situation? Should the Klay Thompson even be something that should be considered trading him?
No. Look, they're the one organization with the owners willing to say, one, fuck the tax situation. We'll just pay it. We're winning. We're selling out. Our merchandise is selling out. We're making money hand over fist. We're fine. So, no. But when it comes down to the GM running the situation, it's lining up perfect. They got the gift from God that Jordan Poole is a player you can build around as far as the future is concerned. Because you don't know about that with Kamanja. You don't know about
Kuminga?
that with Weitzman because he's had the back issues. So going forward with what Poole has shown you, you can give him a max contract and build around him and continue everything. But then you look at Wiggins. Wiggins comes off the books after next year.
Yeah.
Hey, perfect timing. You just get to give Poole a huge contract. And you think, they're still going to get screwed salary. Well, guess what? Thompson got screwed on an all-NBA selection for some douchebag playing in Charlotte one season. And that saves Golden State a fuck ton of money.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you don't remember this?
No.
Kemba Walker became third team All-NBA over Klay Thompson.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. That cost him $50 million. So that's why he's only making $33 million instead of $45 million.
That's right. I remember that. I forgot about that now.
Yeah.
Shit, that's crazy.
It all works out.
Right. They're so lucky, dude. That team is so fucking lucky. Kris, your thoughts?
It all depends on who they feel is most valuable on the team. It's a very cutthroat league, and you can see him kind of losing that step, and his two-way versatility being diminished is going to hurt him in their value chart for their own players. Now, his floor spacing is elite, so I think it's easy to say he's the one to get moved because the number one thing in the NBA today, spread them out, open the floor for your playmakers. So everyone wants to surround their best players with shooters. And there ain't any better catch-and-shoot guys than Klay Thompson. That will never diminish no matter how many Achilles and ACLs and anything else that goes. That talent never leaves. So,
and I feel like this became an issue because he struggled a little bit in the series prior to Game 3. So when that came up, he was kind of like, and he hasn't really been 100% Klay since coming back. He has had moments, obviously.
Well, you can see this year. I mean, granted, he only played like 32 games in the regular season,
right?
He attempted the most 3-pointers per game in his entire career. Granted, he's still making them at a great clip, but you can see the reliance on the 3-point shot now because his athleticism is a little diminished now. But he's still coming in and playing like 900 days. So
I mean, he was driving to the hoop pretty well the other night. I mean, I actually watched him make a layup.
Yeah,
well, I don't know if I saw him do that since his rookie
definitely seen him come back, but the value will be there. His cap number's still big, but it's only 2 years left on his deal, so you know someone will take the risk for that. Whether, there's going to be teams lined up for guys' space floor.
Yeah, but do you think they have that ownership that would get rid of him?
I feel like they won't because I feel like
of those shrew moves that like Bill Belichick has made his entire career to save that franchise, and a lot of teams can't do it because he's been a core. He's a splash brother. He's the beginning of the movement that turned around the franchise. After Baron Davis kind of took them over the top, then the Splash Brothers came through, and so hard to get rid of that. But at the end of the day, if Klay kind of wants to come out of the shadows of, Steph and them, and there's going to come a point in time where everyone's contract goes up, and it's who wants to keep the team together. Is it Klay that's willing to move money around? Is Draymond going to take less money? Is Andrew Wiggins going to say, hey, you know what? I love it here. I'm going to take way less money than I should get. If all those guys say yes, then you can never see that core breaking down. But if those guys want to create their legacy for their own, they got their ring, they're happy. And if they win this year, who knows what happens?
Well, we know they got another year window with this.
Kris reminded me of something.
What's that?
Ernest, you seem to be a guy who thinks guys should be always giving up money.
No. I don't. No, I actually don't. I'm the guy that says go get your money. I'm just suggesting that some of these players may like the situation they're in and happy with it, that they would probably take less to stay there. I feel like Golden State is one of those places where like the culture is so positive that Steph Curry has set a great tone for that culture that players want to play there.
But the state takes 14% of my paycheck.
I understand that.
I'm already paying $36 to Uncle
Sam. Staying in that area too, on top of it.
Right.
I could go to Orlando and make $35-40 million.
I'm with you, but again, it's about happening. Not everybody values everything the same way. I'm with you. I get it.
Okay. Because I felt like you were kind of judging in our text Andrew Wiggins as if he should give up money.
No, I'm saying no. I was saying in the text that I could see him being happy.
You do suggest it a lot that dudes will take less money, and we always have to correct you. Say dudes never. The only guy I could see really fit in that is like if Klay continues to show that the injuries are affecting him, he may take less money because he spent his.
But that's in 2 years though. That's in 2 years.
And then I even think it's Draymond who would be willing to take.
I would say the next guy up is Draymond because he's such a fit in that stretch five. his defense is only versatile in that system that they play in.
I agree.
He comes up for a contract before Klay. Look, it literally
1 year.
goes Wiggins, Draymond, and then Klay. Year. Just like that. It's a total domino.
Right.
But it's going to be guys like that. If they're willing to take less money, we'll see. But a lot of those guys don't want to.
I don't think any guy should ever. And I said it to you guys on the text. If by your third year you don't feel and you're not being talked about as a possible Mount Rushmore type guy, you go get every dollar humanly possible.
Yeah,
because you know what? That owner's going to do the same thing.
This is true, but in an NBA where your money's guaranteed, I think it's less. I think in football it's more like that, just because the money's not guaranteed and you get hurt, you're screwed. But
that's true.
In basketball, when it's a fully guaranteed contract, then I feel like you want to stick with their fit because the systems are so different. It really is, and your value on one team is just changes so much to another.
Well, it's definitely something to watch this summer because I'm sure they're going to want to try to extend Jordan Poole this summer, or at least before the season starts. So see what happens there. Anyway, that's enough for us this week. So Zach, I know you're tired. You look tired. Kris, you too.
I was.
All right, I'm gonna go put my kid to sleep and enjoy the Dallas game. We're up by 6 right now. So,
see.
All right, guys,
go me some tears about those Kris Paul.
Later, guys.
See ya.